Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. I am Chip Skipper, here to bring you another fantastic wrestling match, this time from Flashback Pro Wrestling. We're looking at a hell of a main event, ladies and gentlemen. We've got World Champion versus World Champion tonight. Coming in with home field advantage, Jack Ledger, the current Flashback Champion, multiple-time Flashback Champion, a trainee at the Nightmare Factory. Jack Ledger has proven himself to be a master of the game. Jack Ledger has a knack for the pacing of a match, for the head state that his opponent will be in, and of course, for crowd control, making him a fan favorite here tonight. However, despite him taking on opponent after opponent after opponent and holding on to that Flashback Championship, Jack Ledger is in for a treat tonight, just like the rest of us. There's a reason Jack Ledger came out first tonight despite being the world champion of Flashback Pro Wrestling, and that is because his opponent tonight might be the biggest name to come through the Flashback Pro Wrestling curtains. Holy shit. We're waiting for the most wanted man in America, in the world, and here in Flashback Pro Wrestling, it's Nick goddamn Nemeth. Holy. The star power radiating from this man. Nick Nemeth is a TNA World Champion as well as a World Champion at multiple other companies. However, there is a reason why he has not come with any of those belts tonight, and that is because he plans on leaving with the Flashback Pro Wrestling title, adding yet another claim to fame to his name. And there's only room for one belt in his luggage. Making it clear what his intentions are tonight, folks. Holy shit, Jack Ledger is in for the fight of his life tonight. Nick Nemeth, also a master of crowd control, judging by the huge reaction he's gotten tonight. Though he usually just cares about himself and getting the job done in the ring while making himself look as spectacular as possible. And as a veteran of the game for 20 years, 20 goddamn years, and a world champion at some of the largest companies in the world, Nick Nemeth, well, he has a right to show off as much as he wants. Nick Nemeth dressed in some very tight pants tonight. One has to wonder how ready he is for competition given his current state of dress. It's worth noting that despite Jack Ledger's size, this is the World Heavyweight Championship of Flashback Pro Wrestling, meaning that if Nick Nemeth thinks that his size advantage will give him a true advantage in this battle, he might be sorely mistaken. And in terms of information advantage, Jack Ledger has a lot more information about Nick Nemeth than Nick Nemeth has on Jack Ledger. After all, Nick Nemeth is an international superstar who's been around the world and back, title after title after title. There's a lot of acclaim, however, he is getting up there in age, and Jack Ledger is at the peak of his career. So this might be a more even fight than Nick Nemeth is expecting. Taking a look at that title. Thinking about how it's going to look in his luggage on the way home. Jack Ledger, Nick Nemeth, champion versus champion for the Flashback Pro World Heavyweight Championship. And the bell is about to ring. There we go. Bell is rung. Nick Nemeth questioning the professionalism here at Flashback Pro Wrestling. However, the fans don't seem to mind his graciousness towards this environment. Jack Ledger, Nick Nemeth, clean lockup into a stalemate. Not a stalemate. Nick Nemeth almost getting the strength advantage here. Jack Ledger showing that he is capable of fighting back. It's a stalemate. Nick Nemeth calling for a clean break, and they get one. This is an even fight in terms of the most fundamental of fundamentals. Circling one another, looking for an opening, going for another lockup here. Standard graps here tonight. Nick Nemeth getting the strength advantage, getting Jack Ledger into the corner. Jack Ledger trying to fight back. Nick Nemeth having the advantage in that lockup. Nick Nemeth showing that he is, in fact, the larger and stronger man, as he is wont to show off at a regular basis to anybody who wishes to watch. However, Nick Nemeth going out of his way to not take advantage of Jack Ledger being on the mat. It's clear that Nick Nemeth, true to his past nickname, is treating this as a chance to show off. However, Jack Ledger is known as the hero killer. Beautiful arm drag. Doesn't matter how high of a grandstand somebody puts themselves on. Jack Ledger. Nick Nemeth was not planning on a serious fight, it seems, but Jack Ledger is absolutely bringing it to him. It looks like Nick Nemeth may have to switch tack, make it a bit more doing anything to win, taking the back. Playing some devilish games there. Beautiful pin. Almost getting a 2 count there. Nick Nemeth maintaining control of the back on the mat. Beautiful mat wrestling. Lucha Libre style pins here in relative slow motion, but keeping control of Jack Ledger on the mat. Nick Nemeth showing his veteran instincts at play, forcing Jack Ledger to be on the back foot. Nick Nemeth getting in his head now. Nick Nemeth is showing exactly why he came in here with such an inflated ego. Jack Ledger trying to... Okay, it looks like Nick Nemeth wants to... I want to trust a snake like him. Oh, Jack Ledger fell for the oldest trick in the book, taking the back. Front face lock from Jack Ledger, countered by Nick Nemeth. Kick to the gut. Nick Nemeth off the ropes. Jack Ledger avoids the axe kick. Nick Nemeth avoids the knee. Super kick almost connects. That could have been the match right there. Jack Ledger narrowly avoiding disaster. Straight to the chin. Jack Ledger looking like a BJJ practitioner from the mat. Beautiful kip up. Nick Nemeth to the outside. Might have face planted harder than expected. He's holding his jaw. Looks like that did some damage to him. Nick Nemeth is now on the back foot. Jack Ledger hyping the crowd up. He's going for it. Going for a dive to the... No, Nick Nemeth, hearing the stomps on the mat, gets out of the way in the nick of time. No pun intended. Jack Ledger trying to blindside him from the outside, getting a beautiful gut kick in. Into the corner. Holy shit. The impact on that. Jack Ledger not afraid to get a little vicious here. Showing that this is his home that Nick Nemeth has inadvertently wandered into on his quest for more and more gold. His Midas journey here tonight. Jack Ledger throwing Nick Nemeth around the barricades. Wonder if the cold environment of this hockey arena might be having an effect on Nick Nemeth's instincts, his reflexes. After all, Jack Ledger comes here pretty frequently. He is their world champion, multiple-time world champion. He knows a thing or two about the colder climes of this area.
What's that over there?
It is not allowed, Nick Nemeth. He does not care. Foreign object to the face from the crowd. Nick Nemeth. Jack Ledger on his game, though, refusing to be taken out of it. He is still in this match. He is still hyper alert. Again, Jack Ledger in the peak of his career right now. Peak of his athleticism, peak of his mental state. Beautiful slingshot flipping senton to Nick Nemeth. Graceful in the ring. I don't think Nick Nemeth was prepared for that level of execution from Jack Ledger here tonight. This was probably just going to be another place for Nick Nemeth to get some quick gold, but Jack Ledger is proving to be much more of a fight than Nick Nemeth was expecting. In fact, I'd even say that Jack Ledger has been the flashier of the two. And just look at those golden pants. Yow! Jack Ledger going for a backdrop. Nick Nemeth drop catching him right on the bridge of the nose. Here comes Nick Nemeth splash in the corner. Nick Nemeth is not opposed to showing off his athleticism when need be, even though he is much more of a technical-minded wrestler. Nick Nemeth, beautiful elbow drop after elbow drop. He has perfected this exact combination over and over again before Jack Ledger even has a chance to get up. Jack Ledger doesn't seem to know how to time getting away from Nick Nemeth. Nick Nemeth switching it up on the final elbow drop. Jack Ledger getting out of it, but the damage has been done. Not just to Jack Ledger's torso, but to his very soul. Flashback Pro Wrestling World Championship on the line. Super kick caught by Jack Ledger. Nick Nemeth going up high. Huge Huge elevated DDT from Nick Nemeth, going all in on that pin. That could have been it right there. Jack Ledger barely holding on. Jack Ledger has a lot of energy in him, but that hit him right on the neck. He's not looking too good. Nick Nemeth is the TNA World Champion for a reason. Incredible height on that leap into the DDT. Jack Ledger crawling for the ropes. Oh no, Nick Nemeth tuning up the band for a huge super kick. Trying to exercise some crowd control as well. Trying to force Jack Ledger up to his feet. Going for a huge, another super kick whiffed. Jack Ledger has Nick Nemeth extremely scouted, going for a super kick of his own, but it's not enough. Nick Nemeth throwing him to the outside. Jack Ledger catches himself on the apron, going for a springboard maneuver. Here comes Jack Ledger. Huge springboard lariat from Jack Ledger, coming in for a shoulder tackle right afterwards. Nick Nemeth trying to stay on the initiative, but Jack Ledger not giving him any room. Beautiful back roll. Holy, into a takedown double stomp from Jack Ledger. Holy shit. Jack Ledger is on a tear. He's on a roll. He's on a vibe. He is feeling it. He's going to the top rope, not even checking where Nick Nemeth is. Taking him down. Moonsault to a standing Nick Nemeth, gets the 2 count. Knee hitting Nick Nemeth straight in the jaw on the way down. Could not have asked for a more impactful moonsault than that. Jack Ledger is on fire right now. Nick Nemeth on the back foot. Looks like Jack Ledger is starting to run out of gas, but Nick Nemeth is definitely on the downwards edge, going for a double underhook, trying to finish off Nick Nemeth, but Nick Nemeth going for the backslide. Trying to cheese out a win, not enough. Not a 3 count. Holy shit, leg drop bulldog. The famouser from Nick Nemeth. That could be it. That is not it. Not the 3 count, but almost. Nick Nemeth trying to enter his end game here. He has Jack Ledger where he wants him. Nick Nemeth putting everything on the line for that bulldog. After going to the super kick well for so long, Nick Nemeth decided to switch it up. Very nearly got the pin there. Though Nick Nemeth seems to be running out of gas himself. Going for the beautiful, no, not enough. Going for the danger zone. Holy shit. The flying knee after the failed danger zone. Here comes Jack Ledger, not enough. Nick Nemeth kicking out at 2.9, 2.8. Very nearly 3 is the point. Jack Ledger, enormous running knee turning Nick Nemeth inside out. Huge impact. Both men entering their final reserves here, trying to force themselves into a second wind. The audience trying to get on their side, trying to hype them up. Match could end at any moment here. Both men need to strike a balance between conserving their remaining energy and going for the kill. After all, Nick Nemeth thought he had this match won with that enormous leg drop bulldog, but it was not enough to take down Jack Ledger. Huge strikes. Both men powering up. Trying to just strike each other down with brute force. Huge jab, catching Nick Nemeth off guard, but not off guard enough. We're entering a strike off here, folks. Both men throwing strategy to the wind. Jack Ledger getting the advantage. Nick Nemeth finally coming to his senses, going for a knee to the gut. Headbutt! Oh, Nick Nemeth doesn't care about technique anymore. He's getting frustrated here tonight, folks. Headbutt after headbutt after headbutt, nearly knocking Jack Ledger straight out of the ring. Jack Ledger catching himself on the apron. It's not really where you want him to be if you're Nick Nemeth. Oh no, Jack Ledger, huge advantage in this situation. Definitely has the piece advantage. Holy shit, Nick Nemeth calling for a sarcastic timeout, getting one arm over, not able to get the full pin. Going for a huge super kick, putting everything into getting that leg extension. But it ultimately cost him the actual pin, but it did counter whatever Jack Ledger was going for off of that top rope springboard double axe handle, getting caught right in the chin by that super kick. Was very nearly it. Nick Nemeth trying to finish off Jack Ledger multiple times, trying to reach for him, trying to maintain some sort of control on the ground, but Jack Ledger manages to get to the corner, using the ropes to pull himself up. Jack Ledger on his feet first, but Nick Nemeth going for a corner splash, gets caught by the big boot to the face. Jack Ledger, strike after strike after strike. Jack Ledger has the firm initiative here. Nick Nemeth struggling to stay on his feet, resorting to the corner, doing a little rope-a-dope, hitting him with the back elbow. Nick Nemeth taking the advantage here. Winding up. Huge strike. Neither of these men known for their strikes, though. Neither of them getting taken down by double underhook, spin out, slam. Jack Ledger, he went for that move earlier, and he hit it this time. Nick Nemeth had no idea what was coming. He got hit right on the neck with that one. Nick Nemeth is out of it. Jack Ledger retains the Flashback Pro Wrestling Championship. He does not win the TNA World Championship, though. That would be a hell of an event to happen. Jack Ledger takes out probably the biggest name to ever come through the curtains of Flashback Pro Wrestling. Beautiful match. Jack Ledger is exhausted, can barely get up onto 1 foot after Nick Nemeth took him undoubtedly to the limit here tonight. The information advantage, the difference in expectations between these two men might have been the determining factor in this fight. Jack Ledger being able to withstand far more than Nick Nemeth probably expected. Nick Nemeth trying to get to his end game far earlier than he should have, not being able to put away Jack Ledger despite countless super kick opportunities and attempts. Jack Ledger able to hold on until the end to finish off Nick Nemeth when the opportunity arose. Nick Nemeth finally getting up to his feet. That devastating finishing maneuver from Jack Ledger had him down.
That was almost mine. Yeah. This close. This close.
Nick Nemeth is not lying. That was a very, very close match. It could have been anybody's game there, but Jack Ledger confirms the handshake between him and Nick Nemeth. I don't know if I trust Nick Nemeth, but in his older age, he might have mellowed out a bit, but on that note of sportsmanship, that'll be all for tonight, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Please go and support Flashback Pro Wrestling. They put on a hell of a show, hell of a match. And this has been Chip Skipper, and thank you for watching. I almost forgot how to do the outro there.